God damn, some good fucking meat. My name is Mark Wilson, aka Diewiththemostlikes. I'm a fully fuckable malt liquor energy drink floating in a retention pond in your hometown. I've been endorsed on LinkedIn for that, so it's pretty official. I think my favorite meat eating is of course meat, like, you know, first and foremost, deli meat, regular meat, anything that's pulverized, anything that contains the lips and holes of a dying beast is like kind of my preferred paint, I suppose. But really, you know, there's different parts of expression that will form as you're trying to think about a piece. So if I try something digitally and it's not getting across exactly what I want it to, then I'll try paint, then I'll try writing, and if there's nothing there at all, I'll just destroy it. So yeah, every morning, come in here, generally to kind of like get into the mood. I'll destroy my back on this golf tee mat that I got on Amazon. It honestly just helps get in the mood. It like alleviates like any back pain in some ways, and then also just sets the intention for how nuts I'm gonna go on these canvases. After I do that, like generally like smell. So smell and like sound are huge to me in my creative process. Like this beautifully made and poured handmade, very bespoke Yankee candle that smells like Lakefront Lodge is something that I will light up and you know, let that dictate the brush. It's funny, I can't remember looking or experiencing or consuming any like traditional art growing up, like zero. I have zero recollection of like ever seeing anything at all. So, you know, when people would look at like the Beef Brothko series and people are like, oh, when was the first time you saw a Rothko? I'm like, probably at like Kohl's or something, like plastered onto a crock pot, really, because it just was not part of my my upbringing, which was totally fine. Like, you know, like my parents did such a great job, like nourishing that creativity in other ways, where it was like, I would be making like crazy illustrations. Like when I was really little, there was one that my mom sent me. It was in second grade, and it was a portrait of the second grade teacher who I despised, and we can get into this, but she was dumping a thing of toxic waste into a fish bowl, like, and like murdering all these fish. And she's like, what? When were you thinking about that? But they never really, like, there was no judgment. It was always like, oh, this is cool. Like, you know, express yourself however you need to. Like, obviously you're like, you dislike this teacher, that's fine. So yeah, growing up in Northern Indiana, you know, I think what I found myself gravitating towards really were books, right? Like, there wasn't like art in a traditional sense, but there was a library and there was books to read. So I would be going there and just getting out tons and tons and tons of books and just reading all the time. So I think that within those authors, the worlds that they were building, I extracted the same like world building technique, the same parts of them that like made these stories so full. I became obsessed with wanting to create like my own world like they did. I make art so as to not rot from within, pretty much. I have so much to say, and I consider myself like a documentarian, really. So like, you know, when I'm looking at the world through this perspective and this almost like skewed or like warped version of itself, I want to record that. There's these stories and like these entire universes hidden within the crevices of like little moments that not many people oftentimes see. Like you're at the supermarket and you can find an entire story in the wrinkles of like an old man who's like shopping for a cantaloupe. My favorite like kind of mantra, I guess, that I've come up with, I think it's me, but it's just creation absent of purpose. So like, I think that many people find themselves creating to sell, creating for, you know, engagement, creating. Sometimes you just need to make the thing and that's it. Like, and really that's like the quintessential artist experience is creation absent of purpose. It's just fucking making things. That is it. I think the characters that I've developed are something that came along quite later in my life, actually. I assumed that my life was going to be dying alone doing something that I hate, honestly, like working a desk job and really becoming, I kind of always say this, but working a desk job and becoming the lubricant for the chair for the next sorry fuck to take my place. That's like what I assumed I was going to be doing. So once the whole kind of crypto thing started and I started to pick up some attention and some people collecting or observing or just like enjoying the things that I was making, it escalated the absurdity of these things. But Knudsen himself, so Die With The Most Likes, is very much so Mark Wilson. It's just a kind of exaggerated version of myself. Like, I'm able to kind of go a little bit more insane than I normally would, and was going through a really tough time in my life when Knudsen was developed as well, a time that I wasn't positive I was going to be able to like really laugh again. And so Knudsen was almost like it was like a reprieve for me, like a shadow I could delve into and say like, okay, this is totally nuts. I could get my nunchucks out, doing spin kicks and throwing knives and stuff. And, I'd look at the footage and say, this is funny. Like, it's so fucking stupid. But it was something that I could say like, I'm okay here to do this. And then when other people started to enjoy it and enjoy the tale that I was weaving there, yeah, it just kind of became this like whole thing that we could all just laugh our asses off about. And I really cherish that part about it. Hopefully giving people the same kind of coverage that I needed at the time going through what I was going through. We had our friend who was very, very sick. And so I created these pieces kind of not knowing where she was really at in her health journey at that point. So they were kind of made in the state of anticipatory grief. They were very, very raw. It was very much so like a complete extension of myself and like the sadness and mourning that I knew I was going to experience. And so going through that, we thought, what can we do with these pieces? Like, how can these bring some good? How can, her passing away bring some light and some good into the world, even though it's like completely tragic and so sad. So we decided to take the pieces and auction them off and raise money for a hospice care center called Morning Light. Yeah, they ended up raising over $60,000 for this place. So it was a full year of beds that these people could utilize in order to help people who couldn't otherwise pass away peacefully. It was just this really intense moment of pure love that I have never experienced before, where it was just like everybody was just sharing in this moment and sharing in the desire to help people. It was a very, very intense couple weeks leading up to the auction, and it remains intense, but the heaviness that I felt when I was creating those pieces did seem to lift when I could see the good that they did. First word that comes to my mind when I hear the word artist is asshole. Just a whole spewing out shit and pretty much just digesting the world as we see it and spewing it all over the toilet bowl. I think that myself, that really is my practice. Like, I'm observing what the world has and I'm letting it in the same intestines that are digesting this beautiful mozzarella sticks in boneless wings, letting it mix around with those things, and then having it dumped into a neglected toilet bowl. So I would say artist is asshole.